Join us in a few moments as we're about to go one-on-one with one of my dearest friends, Mr. Steve Donahue. We want to thank everybody for taking a tour of the 89-year-old Palestra, the home of the Cathedral of College Basketball. I'm Jake Schwartz, Voice of Reason. Hello, everybody. For Voice of Reason, this is Jake Schwartz back here at the Palestra. What an amazing tour we had here at the University of Pennsylvania at the historic 89-year-old building, the Palestra. And welcome back to Voice of Reason, one of my dearest, oldest friends I have had the privilege of going down the roads with. I met this guy at Hoop Group many years ago when he was the head coach at Cornell. Remembered watching him grow from Boston College all the way back here, the former assistant coach, Mr. Steve Donahue. Great to see you again, my friend. It's always good to have you back here at Voice of Reason.
My pleasure, Voice.
You know what? You're the nicest man in the world. We just had a nice conversation no more than a few moments ago about what's going to be going on this weekend. But since we had you on here earlier and we talked about your profile, let's talk about what's been going on with the team so far. And about a few days from now, you'll be back on the hardwood. Your last game was back on January 9th. You'll play another Big Five game, and that will be St. Joseph's. What can we expect in this matchup?
Well, it's a great doubleheader. It's like a throwback to the old days. St. Joe's is playing out of their minds. They're 13-3. They got a game tomorrow.
I think I did hear that.
But it's a terrific challenge for us. You know, you got Isaiah Miles, who's having an incredible senior year. I think he's the Atlantic 10 player of the year so far.
Everybody looked at DeAndre Bembry as the guy to go to, but I hear that he hasn't really been getting his name called much. It seems like Isaiah's been kind of taking that spot.
I wouldn't say exactly that. I think DeAndre's played really well. I just think Isaiah has stepped up his game and been incredibly effective. Shoot 40% from three, 90 from the line, 53 overall. Mm-hmm. We're going to have our hands full with both those guys.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to that too. Because just a few moments ago, my cameraman and I just walked the entire room and we've had this conversation. You've had this conversation during press conferences. When you look at those banners, when you look at those, like just the plaques, what is the first thing that comes to your mind about this building?
Well, I think the best thing about the Palestra is that it's a gym. It's just a glorified basketball gym. There's not a lot of frills, but the sight lines are incredible. The biggest thing I think the fans love about it, you actually have an impact on the game. You can actually affect the score. And that's the best thing. You go to a game, see an incredible sight lines, but you have an impact. Your voice, no pun intended, is involved in the game.
I've always been very admired by seeing, and I mentioned this, that it's one of three things. The first thing is, for the last 89 years, it is the official home to this school, the Penn Quakers. The second thing being that it is the home of Big Five. We cannot get better basketball than Big Five. And when I looked at some of those banners and I looked at those plaques, I just saw some of the talent. Being that you and I are both Philly guys, we've had the privilege, both as individuals, as fans, you as a coach, me as an announcer, I've even announced here in this gym many moons ago at the Sneaker Villa Classic. It was a Philly-New York battle. But just being able to do something that you, as a coach, having the privilege of being an assistant close to 15 years over the great Fran Dunphy, and just that feeling, what was that like, just transitioning from assistant, and let's not forget, Cornell head coach, being able to come back here?
Well, it's an incredible honor, Voice. It's very humbling because I know the great coaches that have coached here, coached in the Big Five. I never dreamed that I'd be one of these five guys that would coach in the Big Five. I really didn't. Every day to get a chance to work in that building, coach games there, it's humbling, and I feel very.
I prayed grateful. You'd be the head coach at Penn. I just want to throw that out there.
Those players work.
Well, no. I was going to say I had positive effect that this man was going to be a head coach back at Penn. He deserves it. He is the most well-respected man, and you and I have had the privilege of really getting to know each other probably over the last year and a half or two when we're both recruiting. And one of the things I'm very proud of is you just love life. You love people. You're no different than the Voice. You wake up every day, you eat, breathe, and sweat this great sport called basketball. So what was the first thought when you became the head coach at Penn? What was the thing you needed to do to kind of turn this thing around? Because again, this team, not that they've been in the cellar, but they have kind of been going a little bit downhill. How are we trying to bring them up?
Well, I think the first thing with this initial group was get them feeling good about themselves again. The good thing and the bad thing about Penn basketball is that people care. And when you're down and you're not winning, it affects these kids. I just thought there was the body language, the way they approached the game wasn't the way it should be. They should feel proud. They should be excited. I thought that was the first important thing to get going. Second one is to make sure that we're holding each other accountable, that things do matter, not just on the court, but off the court. So I thought if we can get them feeling good about themselves, taking ownership of the program, being accountable to each other, that's the first part of the process to build a champion.
How do you like your players? And you did bring in I guess not a replacement, but you did bring in somebody, Joe Michalik. What has been the best part of having a guy like Joe on this staff? And I know you have been able to retain your old coach from Boston College, Matt Graham, and another former Penn great, Ira Bowman. But what does Joe mean to this program?
Well, Joe's been a terrific addition. Once again, he's someone that you touched on, that's passionate about basketball.
Absolutely.
Working with kids. And Joe's a great ambassador, not only to our program, but to the school. Incredible tactical side of his coaching ability. But every day he comes here, he's willing to work, help young people. That's what I want. I want guys like that care enough, and part of like all three of them. I think they're all great role models to go with it, and that's what our young guys need to say.
Yeah, after St. Joseph's, you are going to officially, well, you've already done that. You've opened up Ivy League play, so you'll have that weekends of Ivy League back-to-back days, Fridays and Saturdays. What is the thing you need to prepare for to close out the basketball season and try to get into the NCAA tournament? Obviously, the first goal is win an Ivy League championship.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Well, for us to do that, we got to be really consistent, possession by possession. Right now, we'll play 10 minutes of good basketball, or like the other day, we played 37 good minutes.
Yeah.
You got to play 40. In this league, they're back-to-back 40-minute games. It's a heck of a challenge, but I love how the group's progressing. I think there's great growth, and we're going to continue to try to get better.
Now, you've got great players. Like I said, I don't want to touch on any type of subject, but you did have a guy who left by the name of Tony Hicks. I know he would have been a great addition, but that's over. That's past. Now we have to focus on the present, and that's from Darian Nelson-Henry to Flash Gordon, Sam Jones, to just Mike Auger, and just those names, and Antonio Woods. What do those names mean to people like you?
They're all good kids. They're all guys that are going to help us build this into a champion. I don't know if they all know exactly how we're going to do it, but day by day, we're going to drill it. We're going to get better. The thing about them is they're remarkably coachable, great energy, selfless. And that's what you want as a coach. You want guys who are all in, and that's what this group does every day.
I'm still trying to get my eligibility. I want to throw that out there, by the way, just in case anybody knows. I could be the next future Penn Quaker, but I will say this, though. It's an honor and a thrill to see one of my dearest friends in the entire universe. And to all the Big Five coaches, you know I still respect, but I have nothing but respect as well for this young man here. And he is going to take Penn to the next level. This is a guy who has had great success in Philadelphia as both a high school player and even a college player playing over at her side. As Steve Donahue, as always, it's such a thrill to see you, my friend. We'll see you this week at Big Apple Basketball. You got A.J. Brodeur this week at Northfield Mount Herman, and Saki Akilia-Jones, a Kentucky-bound player. Until then, this has been another presentation of Voice of Reason. We want to thank again Steve Donahue for joining us. What an amazing thrill we just saw with all the banners. The ghosts of Christmas past, some of the greatest players, coaches, and broadcasters who graced our presence. Until then, from all of us at Voice of Reason, I'm Jake Schwartz. We'll see you at the games.